Good morning, everybody. Bruce goes over here, enjoying some jazz on a. It was 6 degrees when I got up this morning. I think we're in a comfortable, a balmy 10 degrees right now. I want to thank everybody for coming out here this morning, man. Or it's this. I guess it's still morning. 11 o'clock, 11 a.m. My brother Mo Boxing. Thank you, brother. Thank you. Con Shawnery, Mr. Pads. Tim Lucy, my brother, thank you for coming in here, man. Thank you. Fistiana, the Queen, salute to you. Thank you. Little early morning jazz. We're gonna talk about some of the jazz that I dug in my younger days. I'm still digging on today, man. I was gonna get Crush the Legend was supposed to stop in here with me this morning. Marion G, salute my brother. But hey, man, Saturday morning. Clarence Martin, salute to you, bro. Salute to you, man. Remy, thanks for coming in, man. I'm doing a few Toker 2s over here on this frigid day. We're listening to Larry Coryell in the background. It's called A Call to a Higher Consciousness. That was not my first one of the day. I can't say that, but it was a tasty one. See, this album, this is when jazz fusion hit my head, man. I heard this album, I think it was about 1975, 1976. I'm coming home from the bar late on a Sunday night. I recall it, man. It was probably 1 o'clock, 1:30 maybe. And I had this FM jazz station that was to play jazz all night. And I'm listening to this, man. I'm driving around saying, who the hell is this? Is this Miles Davis? And I'm digging on that funky guitar. And the whole thing, it was like a 20-minute tune. And I just rode around. I passed my house and I said, man, I don't want to shut this off and go inside and turn it on and miss who this was. Because I was digging this. I was listening to a lot of the classical jazz. And this stuff, man, that soprano sax, man. Whew. Sounds like it's reaching inside your guts, But, I found out it was Larry Coryell. Really gooky looking guy. A white guy with glasses. He looked like Buddy Holly. Kind of geeky looking, bro. But, man, his music show wasn't. I made sure I went out and grabbed that album. Call to a Higher Consciousness. And I showed it to you. I got it right here, man. Barefoot Boy. But that's what he looked like. That's Larry Coryell. I caught him a few times in his illustrious career, man. Kind of a guy. I saw him at Boston University. There was a jazz festival there, and I think it was in '76 also. Good year, man. The bicentennial year. But Kenneth Johnson, Oscar, Prince, my brothers. Thank you for coming in, man. It's a Boxing Day today, but when I started this channel, I said I'm going to talk about boxing, jazz, wrestling, nutrition and health, and weed. And today's jazz morning, man. I want to do a quick show and just Mr. Gumbo, my brother, Stormy B Man. Salute to you, my man. Stormy B Man, get your merchandise. Get your Stormy B Man merchandise, man. This hat's so nice. I just keep it behind me to show it off. But anyway, we support the family around here, man. And shout out to Stormy B. He's had me on this panel a couple of times, man. Good shit, man. But anyway, man, Larry Coryell. I caught him at the Boston University Jazz Festival in '76. It was like a 3-day event, and they would have 3 bands come on at night. And I caught Larry Coryell with Grover Washington Jr. And it was Billy Cobham and George Duke, and another awesome jazz band. We're talking fusion right now, man. And these are jazz masters. These are the guys that could sit down with a Charlie Parker. They could sit down with John Coltrane, and they could play, man. But Miles Davis, and I'm going to say 1968. he pulled something at the Newport Jazz Festival. I mean, it was all the traditionalists. They were expecting, Miles to get out there, play his Thelonious Monk, and with his classic quartet that he had. That was Tony Williams on drums. That was Wayne Shorter on sax, Ron Carter on the bass, Tony Williams on drums, Herbie Hancock on piano, and Miles the front man. But anyway, man, they got out there and they played something different, something totally different, man. The jazz purists, they were like, "What is this, man?" And that was the birth of. I put a few albums around over here, man. That was when they played the "In a Silent Way," which was revolutionary to the jazz world. People are, we're hearing. We never heard guitars play stuff like this before, I mean, listen to this guy cooking, man. Woo. I'm driving around on my Fiat X19, bro, and I'm saying, damn, who is this? Oh, I mean, he's just making this guitar pray. But anyway, man, I caught him at that concert, and he's got a band that was called Larry Coryell, the 11th House. And the piano player was blind. I'll never forget that. He was led on stage by someone. He just sat down in front of those keyboards. I mean, this is why you gotta love jazz. You got to love jazz. I'm gonna do a Toker, and I'm a card carrying medical marijuana patient. It's early in the day. My shoulders are killing me, man. But Heather Leather, man, thank you for coming in. Lighter. I came in for a lighter. Oh my goodness. Here we go, right between my legs. Nice place for it. Anyway, man. We're digging on Larry Coryell over here, man. Call to the higher consciousness. And believe me, this was a call to the higher consciousness for me. And jazz took a turn, man. Jazz, the traditional jazz was still there, but then there was this funky stuff, man. This fusion music, this electric jazz, this jazz rock. People didn't know what to call it. Miles Davis is he's opening for a Grand Funk Railroad. They wanted to make a broader audience. They wanted to really get the younger generation into this new funky stuff, this funky beat, man. And these cats on the instruments, man. They're not playing with the instruments, man. They are owning these instruments. I mean, I was a musician. Now, I'm not even going to say I was a musician. I played with a few instruments. I thought I was a pretty good guitar player, a trumpet player, a drummer, a keyboardist, man. When I started digging on these guys, and then when I started hanging out with them, dude, I sold instruments. I gave instruments away. I just, I knew my limitations. It's kind of like, you get in the ring with somebody like, you get in the ring with a professional boxer. You get a ham and egger like me in there with anybody. I don't care if it's the Rhode Island amateur champion. He's going to box my ears off. He's going to show me that, those gloves don't belong on my fist, bro. I love boxing. I don't like fighting. I love jazz. I can't play jazz. I love jazz, man. I used to spend many nights in jazz clubs, man. You go into clubs and you see these guys sitting there, and you think they're on heroin. You think they're out of their mind. They're going with that music. And I never could get it, but I got it like that. All of a sudden, it's like the music was the drug, and these jazz musicians, man. La Dee. Thanks for coming in here, man. We're talking a little bit of jazz over here. I was going. Crush the Legend was supposed to come on here with me today, and I don't know what happened to Crush, but hey, man, I can talk for a half hour about some jazz. We can chop it up, and anybody's any jazz musicians out there, anybody that's got a love for jazz, that has any jazz stories, bro. You're more than welcome to come on here and share them with us, because I've got a million of them, man, and I'm gonna. Oh, here's Crush, bro. Crush, I'm gonna drop you a link if you want to come in, man. I'm glad you're here because I put your name on the thumb over here, man. And the drummers in jazz. Oh, I mean, the drummers in jazz are something. I think this is Alphonse Mouzon on drums. He played with Weather Report. Dude, I mean, when these guys play a drum solo, I had been to a million rock concerts in my day. Dude, I saw the drum solos where, it'd kind of be like almost like an intermission time. But when somebody like Alphonse Mouzon or Billy Cobham or Tony Williams, there's so many awesome drummers out there. Even back in the day, Max Roach, Art Blakey,
Oh
dude.
man, Max Roach. Oh my goodness.
Crush the legend, ladies and gentlemen. Here is the one and only man. Here's the jazz man himself. My brother out there in YouTube, man, a boxing aficionado and a true jazz man. Here's Crush the legend. Crush, what's happening, my brother? I'm so glad you're up here, man.
Oh man, thank you for the audible introduction. But salute to all the guys out there. I see the sensei in the house. I'm nervous. The sensei in the house, and I ain't even talking about boxing right now. We talking about jazz. I got to impress you, sensei. But what's happening to everybody out in the chat? Yes, man, this is Crush. I love boxing, but to get to know me a little more, I'm very rich in the music side of things. I used to be a professional former hip hop dancer. I tap dance as a kid. I played drums and alto and sax as a kid too. So I grew up on jazz music. It's probably my best number one passion in music because a lot of different genres of music and styles fused from jazz. So growing up and around my great grandfather, I always listened to Dizzy Gillespie, Miles Davis, Jimmy Smith, Max Roach, The Bird, Coltrane. I used to date granddaughters. I know Grover Washington Jr. I'm from Philadelphia. I went to school with some of his nephews and nieces. So I love jazz music. I'm a big fan. I listen to that more than I listen to anything, and it's very therapeutic. So a lot of times, being a young teenager back in the '80s, sometimes I had to find a different zone to get me away from the streets because I could have got caught up in the streets. But that jazz music would just sit me back, man, and it kept me from going to jail. Because once that got in my ear, it raised my frequency because it's a high frequency and there's no substance abuse in the music and in the sound. So it relaxes me a lot. It helps you think. It keeps you cool, and it's a beautiful sound. I mean, we love all different type of genres of music, but it's nothing like jazz, bro. Nothing like it. The
Amen.
singing, the sound of the saxophone, singing in your ears like a canary bird is beautiful. It's beautiful to hear Coltrane go cold as the North Pole. Oh my gosh, man. In the stellar galaxy, like space, like I said the other day, I love the whole album, and it's based on the zodiacs, the planets. I'm a Leo. It's one of my favorite tracks. And the way he's just blowing that horn, man, it's dancing all over the place. And you got to catch up with it. And it's like, wow, what could I do with this? And it's amazing. So we could talk a little jazz, man. I got a nice little library, and I love it, man.
Me too, my brother. Jazz, it just brings people together, man. It's such a great music. And the thing is, man, once you get it, because I've been in situations where when I was a jazz snob for a few years. I couldn't listen to anything but jazz. I mean,
Right.
my musical taste is broadened so much. I can listen to anything now and really dig it. I mean, I give any genre, almost any genre, but anyway, bro. I used to be the jazz snob. I was the kind of guy who took over the turntable. At a party, and somebody put something on besides jazz. I'd say, "What the heck is this, man?" I mean, you got, but anyway, man. I don't even know where I was going with this, but like we're talking about, obviously we're talking about the jazz, the music that we love, and that some of the people that I've met, with through jazz, especially when I was living up in Boston for a while, man. The Berkeley School of Music, the Boston
Ooh,
Conservatory,
wow.
and the bars, man. The students from Berkeley who are, 30 years ago, these were the students, and these guys are big names today. Guys like Pat Metheny, guys like
Right.
Michael Stern, even Ron Carter. He was a teacher at Berkeley. He was doing an internship, and what he'd do was he'd get a couple of students together, and they'd go to these bars up in Boston, in Harvard Square, and they just put together a gig, and it would say Ronnie C and his boys, and nobody would know who it was, and all of a sudden you'd see Ron Carter up there, and he'd have Berkeley musicians. He'd have like Mike Metheny playing trumpet, fronting the band. Pat Metheny's brother Mike, who's a professional jazz
Wow.
musician, and just you see these players in their infancy, and they'd be playing their ass off, probably only getting maybe $20 a person, for the night.
Right.
But I mean, you would see these dudes just sweating, and their instruments, like you're saying, man, that soprano sax. It's almost like they're praying with that instrument. Like
Yes.
John Coltrane. I believe he's talking to God when he plays his saxophone. Man, that. Just just such awesome music. Right now, we're listening to some George Duke, and I know.
Yeah, George Duke is oh man, he's one of the most out of the box abstract musicians I ever heard because he can morph to any different sound, man. As a kid I heard this guy do a different styles of jazz, fusion, a little bebop, even some acid jazz, disco jazz, funky electric jazz. He does it all, man. I'm a big George Duke fan. I love the way love his music. Even Les McCann, he was a good jazz musician too.
Well, the first time I saw him was with Frank Zappa of all people.
Wow.
He was the keyboard player for the Mothers of Invention, for Frank Zappa, and the first time I saw him was with Frank Zappa. Oh, wait a minute here. I've got some.
Wow.
Basically, this is a clavinet, and the only difference between this clavinet and a regular clavinet is that there's a bar on it where I can alter the pitch.
Wait a minute, I got some.
Basically, this alters the pitch.
Yeah, that's George Duke speaking there. It's a live concert from Japan, and I mean he's a monster. When I saw him with Frank Zappa, he must have had 6 different keyboards in front of him. He was going up and down, going crazy on there, and and I saw him a little bit later, and he was playing with He was playing with a percussionist, Aieto Morier, and his wife Flora Parim. They were from Brazil. They were with Zappa, but they went to their their jazz roots. Playing the fusion music, man.
Yeah.
It was just like there was no color barrier. I mean, there were white college kids there. There were black cats from the streets. I mean, it was just such the people's music. You know what I'm saying, man?
Right.
I mean, it's screaming out, and these guys they had no boundaries. With standard music, you play an 8-bar tune. You play in a certain key. These guys are just going multi-directional. They're switching keys in the middle of a song. Being a musician, I'm noticing this, and how a lot of these dudes, they don't even have to practice. They'll get together and they'll just go on it.
Just jump it off, right?
Just exactly. Just jump it. G5, salute out there, man. Stomach B's got a question out there, I believe, or a statement or a question. I don't know. Bruce goes and crushed a legend. George Duke's
No rhyme,
no reason.
Oh, hell yeah, Stormy B. Yes.
Awesome stuff, man.
I was just listening to some Thelonious Monk before I actually jumped on. I was listening to Just a Gigolo. I love Thelonious Monk. He's one of my favorite pianists, man. I was just listening to that before I got on. My great grandfather hit me to Thelonious Monk because that was one of his favorite jazz musicians. So the first time I heard Thelonious Monk, I was about 5 years old, and my grandfather was listening to the Straight No Chaser album, which is one of his best works in my opinion. Once I started listening to a lot of his songs, and Locomotive was the song that I heard first. And I'm like, Grandpa, what is this? Because it grabbed my attention. He said, oh, this is Thelonious Monk. And he said, well, if you ain't going to play the piano like this guy, don't even take lessons. I said, you know what? I'm not. Just let me go with the drums and the saxophone. He said, and that was that. But yeah, Thelonious Monk is definitely one of my favorite jazz musicians, man. Growing up, listening and studying his work and his art, So very unorthodox pianist, in my opinion.
Incredible piano player. Thelonious Monk was he was revolutionary. Some people thought he was drunk when he played his piano. You know, and he used
Exactly.
to wear, and he used to wear, Salvation Army clothes. You know,
Hmm.
he was a character. You know, he'd come out there with a, with a pork pie hat on and a wide guitar. His jacket would be frayed, and he'd sit down and he'd almost play his piano with a percussion. You know what I'm saying, man?
Right.
He would bang those fingers. I never got to saw Thelonious Monk, man. R.I.P. But man, he played with everybody, with Miles, with Charlie Parker, with John Coltrane. Dude, Thelonious Monk. When you're talking about the best piano players in the world, you're gonna have to say Art Blakey,
Yes.
Thelonious Monk. Herbie Hancock. He came later, but
Yeah,
bro,
Herbie came later with the Headhunters, but Art Blakey. Speaking of Art Blakey, yes. Woo, man, Art
I caught
Blakey.
I caught him at Newport Jazz Festival. Art Blakey and the Jazz Messengers, bro.
Right, right,
He had Wayne Shorter playing the tenor sax.
right.
Oh man, the people that he had in the band, it was an awesome lineup, man. I think he had. Let me see. I think Donald Byrd was on trumpet. It was an all
Yeah,
star lineup, and it was just so happened. And Art Blakey and Max Roach. Those are the two godfathers of jazz drumming. Ashley's Corner. Salute. Thanks for coming in. Boxing. I say hello to Boxing Conversation with Reggie Owens yet, man? If not, man, salute. Is that Kwee I see up there, man? I'm not sure because I'm not good at running a show yet, man. I'm still trying over here, man. I'm
you
still
got it,
trying to
bro.
get
You got
started.
it. Here's a
But
little Thelonious Monk for y'all. Bright Mississippi.
yeah, Thelonious Monk, he was the man. Are you playing Thelonious Monk in the background right now?
Yeah, I'm playing Bright Mississippi.
Oh, bro, because I have George Duke in the background. Let me cut that out. I'm I mean, we're really getting avant-garde here, bro.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, now what band is this? Is this man? Who's playing on this?
I think on this one, this is off the Monk's Dream album. I know that Art Blakey was on this album.
Oh,
That might be him playing.
oh, yeah.
Um, Art Blakey was on this album, and
What is this about 1955, 1956 or so?
yes, 55. Yeah,
55. Yep. Oh yeah, this is. I mean, this Thelonious Monk. Some people couldn't play with Thelonious Monk because of the style
right.
that he had. I mean, he had it's such a weird style, and if you listen to him make those runs when he runs those scales, he never misses a note. But yet you think he's playing two notes at the same time, playing these crazy chords. But man, Thelonious Monk, one of the greatest. And you're talking about an all-star band.
Yes.
You're talking who who's on the sax right there.
No, not offhand right now. Okay,
No, no,
I'm gonna have to look
yeah,
at the credits.
love that jazz. Getting back to the jazz fusion, bro. I
Yeah.
saw George Duke at the there's a club in Boston. It's got to be one of the most famous jazz clubs in the world. I don't even know if it's still going.
What's the name of it?
It's called the Jazz Workshop, and it had
Oh.
another room attached to it, and they call that Paul's Mall. And
Mm.
I remember going in there one night, man. George Duke's band was playing, and I'm talking about a powerhouse band. George Duke was on, obviously on keyboards, and he had Steve Gadd on drums. Awesome drummer, man. Plays with everybody. He had John Schofield on guitar. He had the bass player, man. What's his name? He plays with the Rolling Stones. Kwee.
Oh,
Salute, man. Salute to you. Daryl Jones on bass. Bro,
wow.
and I'm sitting 5 feet away from George Duke. It was maybe a 300 seat room, but they really packed him in there. and I was sitting so close to George, and I'm firing up a bone, and John Schofield, he's looking at me, and he caught my eye, and I and he's like, he could smell it was good shit, man. But
Yeah.
and I kind of like offered him a hit, and he was too professional, too on stage. But after the band got through, then I went in the back with him, man. He just gave me the old, which
Right.
you know that with jazz people, and man, those guys were blowing coke. I wasn't doing coke at the time. I already been
Right.
through my phase with that, and these guys were just doing rails upon rails where they got so gaga, and then they start jamming together. Where I wish I had a recorder to record some of the shit that I heard back there.
Right.
And I mean, that's the thing about jazz musicians. They're very friendly. Very open. The ones that I've run into, man. And
Right.
you go back there and you say, anybody got any papers back here? And every one of them, there were guys that were older than me back there. I mean, they're ancient. And you see them pull out a pack of zigzags like it's nothing, snorting
Wow.
lines of coke. But I mean, that phase in jazz ended because a lot of those players, they got hooked on drugs. I mean, even back in the day, drugs, stripped jazz. Drugs took some of the
Oh
best
yeah,
jazz.
yeah.
We're talking about John Coltrane. 40 years old, he died. He passed away from from
Hmm.
liver complications. Due to heroin. VRX, salute, bro. And it's a terrible scourge on boxing. Miles Davis, the great Miles Davis, right at the height of his electric career, he was
Yes.
just so blasted on coke and on heroin. He stayed in his apartment for a year, for 1969 to 1971, basically. He taped newspapers over his windows, painted them black. He didn't want to
Yeah.
do the. All he wanted to do was get high. And it was Miles Davis is my one of my favorites, and jazz and boxing, they go hand in hand.
Yes.
Miles Davis went to the first Ali Frazier fight. That was one of the first places he was seen in public. If you ever see a documentary of that, when they start showing the main people in the at ringside, because I mean, you got everybody there. You got Frank Sinatra, you got
Right.
Dean Martin. I mean, that was 1971. Diana Ross. Uh, everybody was there. But Miles Davis, he was the man. He was right there at ringside because Miles was a boxing fan.
Yeah.
Miles,
Yeah.
dude, the Jack Johnson album, that's one of the greatest jazz albums of all time. But
Speaking of Miles, here you go. I'm playing around midnight right now.
Around Midnight is one of your most classic. I've heard people sing it. I've heard people.
Yeah.
Scrapbook always uses jazz. Yeah, me and Scrapbook, we talk jazz once in a while when we hook up. Paulo, salute, man. Scrapbook thinks it's jazz. That's kind of one of the things that we found we had in common.
Yeah.
We both love boxing. We both love jazz, and whenever he puts out one of his classic videos, man.
Yeah. You hear that beautiful jazz in the
Uh,
background. Man.
and I always tell him who the artist is. Not always, but when I recognize it, and he'll say, "Yes, Bruce goes. You're right." I've heard him do Miles Davis, some classic tunes that he does in the background for some of his boxing videos, and I'll say, "Is that so what, Miles?" Yes, Bruce goes. So, man,
Salute to the Yoda of boxing scrapbook. That's the
oh,
name I gave him. That's the Yoda. Stormy B is the sensei. So I got all sorts of respectable nickname for the gods, man.
yeah, Scrapbook has graced my show coming on here. Coming in the room. So Scrapbook, his stories while he plays the jazz.
Yes, Quee.
Absolutely, Kwee. Mr. Pads.
Don't that sound beautiful, Bruce?
Oh
Oh man,
yeah, and Miles played with the muted horn a lot,
right.
and I think this was the classic quartet too. Oh yeah, man. This is a classic song, man.
Right.
Everybody does this song. So many people have sung this song.
Oh
And
hell yeah.
You know,
We
when midnight comes around. I know the words to this tune. That's how bad I am. And it was
we played this song in our junior high school jazz band. Uh,
nice.
yeah, and I played drums on the jazz band in school.
Yeah, I mean this is this is the kind of music that I fell in love with, man. You know, because I've told this story before. I'm going to tell it again.
What's
You know,
up,
the
Ed?
first time. No, I'm just going to say how I got introduced to jazz. You know, I was a rock man. I was listening to every. You know, I was listening to anything. You know, back in the day, loud music, Black Sabbath, dude. All the blues. I was listening to Led Zeppelin, and I was listening to BB King.
Right.
Santana. I loved Carlos Santana, who also took a turn towards
Oh
jazz.
yeah. Carlos Santana's me, man. Me.
But dude, some cats that were living on my floor there, they're telling me you got to come see Return to Forever with Chick Corea. You know, you got to go to this concert. And I'm like, well, you know, okay, I'll go. And my mind was blown. I saw Chick Corea. I saw Stanley Clark on the bass.
I
He's
met
playing the
Stanley
thing.
Clark in the '90s when he
That,
was in.
no, that was in 1974. It's 1975. And because Al Di Meola on guitar, it sounded like an Uzi. He was so fast. It was like speed, precision,
Right.
and the drummer Lenny White. It was like a nuclear war. He had so much action
Right.
and he wasn't just banging on these things. He's playing these intricate solos
Hmm.
and going in these avant-garde directions, and all of a sudden the band would come back together, and they were just so good. And from that night on, I just had this new love for jazz.
Right.
There was a record store in Boston. It was called Strawberries. They used to have midnight jazz sales, midnight record sales. They'd give you like 3 albums for $10, which was a good deal, man, back then.
Yeah, they used to do a deal like that in
Midnight,
Philly
yeah,
on the jazz
yeah.
album. Yes.
You know, and it would be an all-night thing, like midnight till 7 a.m. And back then, man, nobody was on any kind of a clock, bro. You know, you slept when you were tired, and you jived when you felt good. So I used to go
Right.
down there, man, and I started looking forward to these sales and copping three jazz albums, every month or so when they had them. And man, I had some great stuff. And right now, man, from doing that, I have over 3,000 albums on vinyl right now. 3,000 jazz
Wow.
albums.
3,000.
3,000.
That's amazing, Bruce.
You know,
That's amazing.
like I just brought some of them over here. I brought like the Billy Cobham George Duke. You know, we were talking about that.
Oh yeah.
Great
Wow. That's
collaboration.
classic.
Great. What's that, brother?
That's classic right there.
Oh,
That's
well, I love all of these albums, man. Like somebody was asking about John McLaughlin earlier, man. That's John McLaughlin, the Mahavishnu Orchestra, the Inner Mounting
okay.
Flame. Somebody mentioned that, and that's with Billy Cobham, with Jan Hammer. You know, the thing about my albums, I never kept them in good a shape, and I kept the albums in pristine shape, but the covers I just used to stack them up, put them in there, and I saw an ad where somebody wanted to buy jazz albums, and man,
Hmm.
I have them. I don't even play them anymore. We're talking about Herbie Hancock. I mean, this right here is what they call an import album. These were not released in the United States. This was only
Right.
released
Right.
in Japan, and these things were going for like $25 at the time. And this is a double, not available in the United States. But I got a few of these too, and this cover seems in great shape. But I had the appraiser come down here, and he looked through my collection. And he's like, "Oh man," he's like, "if these covers are in better shape, I'd give you $6,000 for this collection right now." And I'm
Right.
like, "Oh man." But then because some of the covers, this is Bitches Brew, classic Miles Davis.
Oh
See how
hell
they have
yeah.
that? They have that thing in there from being leaned up. There's nothing wrong with the albums. I took care of the albums. I always made sure they went back, with the sleeve, where they couldn't fall out of the sleeve and
Right.
shit. But that's not what they want. They want the covers.
Right.
And
Yeah.
and,
Being,
and if,
being a DJ myself, we used to keep the covers in plastic.
mm,
Certain albums because sometimes not just damaging the cover, but you could damage the albums too. So when we used to go out and DJ and you got to compete against the other DJs, you want to come up and put down a nice little scratchy sound that they don't have in a crate. And everybody would just go to the break beats or find some James Brown. No, bro, we had 3 crates of nothing but jazz. And I made my partners accept jazz music because they were stuck on other stuff. I said, listen, bro, when we go to these competitions, you got to pour some of this shit out.
That's it,
And
bro.
man,
Originality.
we used to pour some shit out, man. It would blow people's mind. You see what I'm saying? And then we had the MCs even rapping off of a fucking 30-second, just going off for these musicians. And it would be different from what everybody else was doing. So, it set a whole different landmark. And that's the, a lot of the DJs around here was mixing a whole lot of jazz music in their routines and things like that. And of course, the hip hop world sampled from damn near every great jazz musician known to unknown. So that's how important that music is. It's the foundation of every sound of music. I just can't say it any different.
Yeah, it's just such it's so classic, and the thing is, it drew the young people in with the fusion. When Miles went electric and when he started touring with rock bands and open it up, that's when it brought a whole new generation of younger people there.
Right.
And like we played at the Isle of Wight in England. It's the big jazz, the big rock festival they have every year. Miles played there one year, maybe many years, I don't know, but it was on an album that I had. And your standard rock band, they're going to come up there. You're lucky if you get like an 8-minute song. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And maybe you get a 4-minute song for whatever it may be, but they're in a time frame. Now, when Miles gets up there, Miles will play for 45 minutes without stopping, and he may include different songs in there. But they had this talent where they could just protrude music, play, and people would be in awe. Even when the solos are, because that's the thing about jazz. It highlights different musicians where you'll spot on the guitar player. He'll just do his thing, go in directions, man, and that stop, and the audience will appreciate that. And then you'll turn to the bass player, and whether it's upright bass or electric bass, with jazz, man, some of these guys just have the fastest fingers, like Stanley Clarke, man. When I first saw him, his fingers, they were like freaking just knives. They were so long and such dexterity, and
right.
The talent just drew me to it. Dimitar, thank you for coming in, bro. I'm trying to pay attention to the chat over here, bro. With my 2 screens blazing, because man, we love our jazz. We're trying to keep it pumping. We're trying to keep it out there. And boxing and jazz, they go hand in hand. You know how many boxers? You watch Sonny Liston documentaries. Sonny used to like to play to John Coltrane, Night Train. He used to hit the speed bag, the Night Train. And what a sight that is! What a sight that is!
Yeah, jazz music was to the boxers back then, like hip hop is to the basketball players and the football players, because that's their choice of music that helps get them focused and get them through their workouts and things like that. So back then, jazz was definitely the choice of boxers back then.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of those fighters, we know the story. Racism been around, since the beginning of boxing. So with some of the music, it helped them relate to it, because some of the music, the message was in it, was talking about all the bad things that was going on in the world that was happening to people without having to be vocally sing, but the instrument would sing for you. You know what I'm saying? So you heard those cries about the injustice in the sounds of when Bird and Miles and all those guys blew them horns and things like that. So the boxers was able to relate to it because the sound went hand in hand with what was going on at those times, what they was going through in and out the ring, and what everybody was going through around the world. You got to remember the Great Depression was around back in the early days of boxing and things like that. So if it was an outlet to help the boxers relax themselves, it was jazz music. That's why I go hand in hand.
Well, also the thing with that too, it was an ugly situation back then, man. A lot of these jazz bands, they were integrated. They travel from town to town, and some towns, some hotels, white only hotels. The Black brothers had to go out and find accommodations elsewhere.
Right.
Down into a poorer section of town. It was a fucked up thing. But yet when they got on stage, bro, all that dropped. I mean, it was they they just gave each other's souls away. They just played. I mean, they prayed, they played. That's why the music is so great. But but the world it's a cold hard place. And they didn't make any exceptions for the jazz greats either. Sometimes the
Right.
leaders of the band, the frontmen, would have to go find accommodations elsewhere because they couldn't stay at the white only hotel. So it was a fucked up thing, man.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Some of them
I
had this.
love I love jazz, and it's like boxing, man. The color barriers. We try to break them down, and that's what the music of jazz and the sweet science of boxing. We try to rise above that shit, and it's
Right.
hard to do. And when I was drawn to music, I've been to concerts where it's I'm the only white face in the audience. It was a weird feeling, but I've never had any problems. Once the music starts, everybody's just into the music, man.
Right.
It's like the color barrier disappears. And I've seen bands that were integrated, and they were the top jazz bands in the world. Some bands were all white. They were awesome. Some bands
Yeah.
were all black. I mean, dude, in Japanese, some of the Japanese artists,
Oh,
they
hell
come,
yeah.
uh, you
Spiral
know,
Gyro and all those different type of cats. Oh my, we can get into that another day with those Japanese jazz.
Sadio Watanabe. I mean,
Yes.
oh, bro. I mean, jazz is just so intense. But I'm glad you're up here, Crush. What's the best jazz concert you ever went to, bro?
The best one that I've seen. Now Philadelphia used to do a in the upper part of section of Philadelphia, they used to do what they call the East Oak Lane, I think the Mount Airy Jazz Festival. They used to do it every year. So I never actually seen a jazz concert as a kid growing up listening to jazz. But when I got like in my late teens, my early 20s, I used to go up there. And by Grover Washington, those guys being from Philly and from up those areas and things like that, they used to get a lot of jazz musicians to come in. So I think it was 80, it was even between 87 and 90. I got to see Stanley Clark. He came to
Oh,
Philly and played there. A lot of people don't know about Kool and the Gang. They was a vicious jazz band before they went to
mm,
R&B. And it blew my mind because they came and did their thing. Who's going to take the weight and Doji and different things like that. Kool and the Gang was there. Um, who else was there? It was about three or four, and this is when the first time I heard one of the newest guys, Joshua Redman. So he was just
oh
coming
yeah,
that
yep.
time. He was the opening act actually. I remember him being the opening act. He's pretty good, but I can't remember the other ones. But yeah, they used to do an awesome thing up there for years with jazz, man. So I went one year and had a ball. And just to be in the middle of the streets and everything is blocked off. You got people from each part of the section of that area, and then all over the Philly gathered and listening to some ultimate jazz musicians, legends come through and perform. McFadden and Whitehead, they played the part of that when they were still around because they was doing that festival for years. So and Kenny Gamble being from here, you know, I know that guy. Some of my peoples work for the schools that he opened up here, Kenny Gamble. So he used to bring artists through at any time, and they'd get up there and do the damn thing. But I did see one time I seen it was Stanley Clark came to the Blue Horizon here in Philadelphia. I know you know about that. They used to do
Oh,
a whole lot of boxing back then. Uh, Yeah, so he came there. They used to do jazz concerts too. So I seen him in there too, because at the time I was working up in that area and I just stopped in there and guys let me come in and I just watched. So yeah, man, it's a great thing. But I wish I could have got to see some of those guys in my younger age. My great grandfather robbed me out of that because he wouldn't take me with him. But I forgive him because he took
Well,
me.
there were sometimes after those concerts, there were some things that were kind of R-rated, man.
Yeah.
Hey, shout out to Sheed We here. Tay Brown, thanks for stopping in.
Hey,
Marion
Tay
Brown,
Tay.
appreciate it, man. We're talking some jazz, and I've been on here with Crush the Legend. Jazz is in my soul, man. Jazz.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd be alive without jazz, man. Jazz is just so invigorating. This morning, I put the earbuds in. It was 6 degrees out there. I even put the coat on the dog, which he doesn't like that shit, man. He puts the skids on. He doesn't want. But anyway, I put some Tony Williams in the earbuds. Tony Williams Lifetime, and
Wow.
bro, I was just. I couldn't feel that 6 degree weather. I know my face must have felt it, but I had a bone in my pocket. I was puffing on a joint, man. Strictly medical marijuana for my arthritic shoulders. That destroying me. You know what I'm saying? Wink, wink, as the OG says. My brother who's on now, man. Crush. We've been on here for a while, bro. We're just kind of bullshitting about jazz, our favorite shows, man.
Yeah.
What jazz did to our lives. I'm not going to tie up the airwaves forever over here, bro.
Right. What we got on now? It look like KQ is on right now.
Yeah, I try to come on when there's not a lot of action, but there's nothing you can do with YouTube. Everybody, you want to show you just press broadcast and let's go. And the jazz, it started me off on the right foot, man. I saw the sunrise this morning. It was awesome, bro. I mean, you watch a sunrise over the bay, and it kind of tells you who's in charge around here. I mean,
Right.
it's humbling. And you kind of see the world waking up, and especially when you got the jazz playing, and I think last night I might have got maybe 4.5 hours sleep. I don't know what it was, but bango, I was at 6:30. I was awake, and I thought Wake and Bake was going to be on, but with the war report this morning, so I put it on. What he didn't come on. Hey, that's how things go.
Right.
So man, I'm looking forward to this. I had a nice big bowl of oatmeal, nice hot bowl of oatmeal with some protein powder in there, man. Because Bruce goes, bro. He's got to stay healthy. He drinks the water constantly, man. Always drinking that water, cool that throat, because the bong heats it up. The Toker too.
Right. Exactly.
But we got some hot boxing going on tonight, man.
Oh yeah.
Digging on jazz over here, and the best jazz concert that I ever went to, I'm gonna say was it was Berkeley Performance Center, and it was the Berkeley Jazz Festival.
Of course.
And they had it was John McLaughlin, Al Di Meola, and a guy named Paco de Lucia. Three guitar players. They played acoustic guitars, and it was like. It was awesome. If you ever get a chance to YouTube it, check it out. The acoustic guitar of John McLaughlin, and that just started the tone. And then there was a band called Jack DeJohnette's Directions. Jack DeJohnette, one of the greatest jazz drummers in the world, and he had John Abercrombie. He had Enrico Rava. He's a trumpet player from somewhere over in Europe.
Yeah, I'm familiar with
ECM
Abercrombie. I heard about it.
Oh, there's just so many different genres of jazz. So many different countries have their own style. This right here. This was one of the most awesome shows. It's called the Havana Jam. This was done in Cuba, and you have Jaco Pastorius, Weather Report, Hubert Laws. Dude, it's like a who's who of jazz musicians, and this was recorded in Cuba in the late '80s.
Ooh, I know that thing is hitting heavy, man.
Oh, bro, nothing I love more than sunshine, a hot day, and jazz out there. Scrapbook, my brother, I'm so glad you stopped in, man. We mentioned you in here earlier. We're talking about jazz, brother. You're always putting on some good jazz when you put your vids out, man. And I was telling them how a lot of times I catch the tune when you did the So What with Miles Davis, And dude, it's the brotherhood of boxing and jazz, and a couple of jazz men up here, we're just kind of shooting the breeze, talking about some of the shows we went to. And when I used to really dig, a hot Sunday afternoon, man. with a jazz concert, and there'd be a lot of those back in the day.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh man, and, you lay on the grass. You could bring your cooler with you, bring your smokes, whatever it may be, and you'd see some good musicians on the east side of Providence. You'd see that would happen a lot. A lot of these mansions, you go up there, and maybe they charge like $2 or $3 to get in, and what an afternoon! You'd see some awesome stuff, and man, this is just part of my love for jazz. I follow jazz. I used to follow musicians when they'd go to different cities. And I tried representing some musicians at one time, but it was just too much, man. It was crazy. I'd much rather be a spectator than part of the business. I found out it's just as ugly as we hear the boxing businesses today.
Right.
Everybody's trying to stab each other in the back. Everybody's trying to step over each other. But anyway, man, just talking about that jazz, just listening to a little bit of it. Crush the Legend. I want to have you on here, bro. I want to have you on here with me. You said it the other day. We got to talk some jazz, bro. As soon as you said that, you lit a candle under me. I said to my wife, I'm going to do a show with Crush the Legend. I'm going to do it within a day. We put these things off. We just blow them off. And yeah, Scrapbook. You remember those days, man? Jazz on a Sunday afternoon, man. The best show I saw on a Sunday afternoon concert, it was George Benson on guitar.
Ooh, George Benson.
It was in Newport. It was only $15, but Benson was the front man. I think he had oh damn, I can't think of the other musicians he had now, but they were all top musicians, and it was a quartet setting. And bro, jazz on a Sunday afternoon, man.
Yeah, he was actually at that festival too, the East Point Jazz Festival I was telling you about. George Benson was actually there too. So,
oh yeah. So, I remember in 1976 when he put out the Breezin' album. That's when he crossed over, and everybody was buying. He was doing This Masquerade. He sang the Leon Russell song, and he just showed people. He showcased himself. He played in Providence. It was George Duke with that Breezin' band that opened up. Excuse me, they were the main event, and the opening act was Billy Cobham. And he had an awesome band. He was playing things from Crosswinds, and bro, just so many good memories with jazz. And we'd go out to see a show. We'd go have drinks before, maybe go have dinner before the show. It was an event like a closed circuit boxing match was back in the day, man. It was a thing to do. Jazz and boxing. I have so many of my brothers, man, that were into that same thing. If there's a fight coming on, back in the day, I'd give them a buzz and bango. We'd all get together to go to the fights. If there was a jazz show coming on, the same thing. There were a lot of clubs were opening up back in the 80s and 90s, and jazz was really cool. There was a place called Allery's in downtown Providence, and they had couches in there, couches and soft chairs. And what they did was they get a professional from New York to come down and play with the house trio on like a Monday or a Tuesday night. And I saw like Art Pepper was there. He came down, and Gene Burton-Selly, guitar player, awesome guitar player in the style of George Benson. Right up there. These guys are they're playing with the Johnny Carson Orchestra. They're playing professionally in New York, but when they get a night off, they'd come down to Providence and play Allery's, and you just sit there on the couch, kicking back. I used to smoke a cigar at the time, so I'd have a joint in my hand. I'd have the cigar in the other hand. Nobody could smell it. I'd be, and the cigar would be my camouflage, and I would just be digging on these guys so close. And you remember I was telling you how you get those highs listening to jazz, where your mind just goes somewhere else. And I was getting that, and of course it was a bar, so I'd have a Cavazier in the hand. It was so cool, bro. It was part of the jazz experience, man. And hey, if you go downstairs, you do a couple of blasts, whatever it may be. But jazz, man, I loved it, man. I love everybody who comes to talk about it, man. I really dig it all. It's noontime, Crush. You want to say anything goodbye to the good folks out here that came to listen to us?
Oh yeah, man. Thanks for coming through, man. This was amazing topic. Once you threw it out, that's a hell yeah. I love it, man. Right now, I'm listening to some Eddie Henderson while we sit here
Oh,
talking about jazz. I'm actually listening to Inside You, which is one of my favorite songs. Off the Heritage album. So yeah, man, I love jazz. I can pull all type of stuff up, man. Now where we have our DJ equipment at, 'cause it's too many albums to keep in the house. So we have about 22 crates of albums. The last time I counted, now most of the jazz collection is mine because my partners they only do a little bit of jazz. But the last time I counted, I had maybe about 1,500 jazz
nice,
albums and
nice,
records.
nice.
So I got to go to record stores and get a lot of albums. Grandpop and great grandpop gave me some of the collection. They still ain't give me the rest. Hopefully, it's left in the will when they go another 100 years from now, because they both still around. My great grandfather's 104 years old. He's relaxing in Barbados, and from time to time when I talk to him, we talk about jazz music, man. So hopefully I get to go see him this summer. So he's still kicking. So smoking his pipe with his homegrown marijuana, drinking his wine, and listening to jazz music and saying "fuck the world."
God bless him. And I wanted to share something too with the fam out there. You guys know I did that show with Tim Witherspoon the other night.
Yeah,
My
Tim. Yeah, I wanted to come on the
dude,
panel, but I was enjoying it.
dude, let me finish here, bro. There was somebody else in the audience watching that fight that night. Anyway, my brother Big Duke from Fourth Quarter. This is the guy that I do nutrition videos. We do training
Okay.
videos together. We do a show every Friday at 6 o'clock. Well, anyway, Ray Mercer caught that show. And Ray Mercer called my buddy Big Duke up. Big Duke, he's a superstar, bro. Big Duke knows a lot of people in the industry. Not only the sports industry, but he knows actors and shit. We've done shows with him. Anyway, he says Ray Mercer wants to do a show on Tuesday night on his platform. He wants me on there. So
Great,
fourth
man.
quarter, fourth quarter talk, bro. Any of you guys want to see Ray Mercer? I'm looking forward to that. But I got the call yesterday. And
Cool.
it's just getting better and better, bro. It's gonna be awesome. Thank you so much, Scrapbook. That was so much fun. And I'm looking forward to meeting Ray Mercer. Ray saw the show. Ray knows Tim. I don't know if Tim's gonna be on the show too, but Duke called me up yesterday. I called him this morning. I said, is it on? 'Cause I'd like to tell people on the show if we're gonna be. He says, yeah. He called me up twice yesterday. He says, it's gonna be Tuesday. I don't know what time.
Right.
So I'm gonna tell you guys that now tentatively. You know how things go with professional boxers. The last minute pullouts. I thought Terrible Tim was gonna blow me off at the last minute. I was gonna go down to Philadelphia and go in them gyms in South Philly and look for him and tell him, Bruce goes is 67, but you don't blow him off, man. He's gonna come
Exactly.
get you. but anyway, man, my brother Tim came down there. Yep, Merciless Ray. And I'm looking forward to that. So that's fourth quarter talk, bro. I'm gonna what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go find the link for that so I can put it in here. So anybody
Do
wants
that, because I would love to hear Ray Mercer, man. Oh my gosh, this guy had one of the most nastiest intentions of really trying to clean your clock in boxing history. Oh my gosh, this dude, his knock. Oh my gosh, he really beat the soul out of cats, man. Oh my goodness, Ray Mercer. Merciless was his great name for him, man. Oh my God, this guy, he was really trying to detach people's souls from their body, bro.
Oh yeah, I'm really looking forward to it, and it's just this wonderful sport that we love, boxing. It's kind of mind blowing that the things that the people that we run into, just the great people I've met on YouTube over here, man. Everybody out there, man. Yeah, you've all become really seriously deep friends of mine. I use the term brother a lot. People that it's overused, bro. I've been using that since the 70s. L Dub, salute to you, my brother. And I kind of tapered it off when it tapered off, but then I had this restaurant in '95, and I had this guy that I hired to cook for me. His name was Derek, and he passed away. Yeah, he was only a kid. He was only 21 years old back then.
Wow.
I was about 40, and everybody was brother, and I could see it was sincere, and and I started doing it again, man. People are like, "Well, brother," and I come on YouTube, and it's a lot of brothers, but and some people, maybe it's overused, but I use it from the heart, man. I feel such a brotherhood, and I feel a sisterhood when I come on here, man. Digging on boxing, digging on jazz, digging on wrestling, digging on nutrition and health, and and my old standby here, the weed for my arthritis, and I do it strictly for medicinal purposes, if you know what I mean.
Right.
But anyway, man, yeah, I'm gonna put that in. Let's see, I'm gonna have to go to YouTube to do that, because I'm on StreamYard right now. That's why if there's anybody out there that I haven't given wrenches to, man, I like doing that to people that come into my chat room. And if I haven't done that to anybody, that's because I'm not on I'm on StreamYard instead of YouTube. But I'll go back and I'll watch my show, see what a jerk I made out of myself.
Nice.
And damn, I keep staying on StreamYard over here, and I want to put Big Duke's. I want to put Big Duke's post on here. I want to put his link on here. So if this thing is driving me crazy. That should is it out there?
Hey, you used to listen to a lot of Steely Dan?
Oh yeah.
I love Steely Dan, man.
Oh.
Yeah. Deacon Blues, baby.
Oh, you look at the musicians who play with Steely Dan, bro.
Yes.
Those are jazzmen. Those guys they play with everybody, dude. He plays with Tom Scott, the L.A. Express, and Larry Carlton, and oh man, there's just Michael McDonald. Is so many people in there.
That's
Steve Gadd. We could do a whole show on Steely Dan.
Steely Dan is nice.
Did that link get put in there? I put it on StreamYard. I hope it went to YouTube.
Let me see. I think I can see it in the chat over here. Let me see.
Wrenches aren't important to me, bro. I don't go on channels for wrench. No, bro. I dig that, Reggie. But I put them on here because this way nobody's gonna block anybody out. And I kind of it's my gift to you, Reg. And, if you don't have one right now, bro, you're gonna get one as soon as I get on YouTube and go through my foolishness over here. But
oh yeah, he's talking to Mr. Pads about that.
Oh, okay, man. Well, they're not important to me. I only have about 70 of them. They get taken away when people see me where they don't want to see me. They get given to me. Sometimes I just go in a channel, I'll say salute, and somebody will lay a wrench on me. So hey, man, it's one of those things. I can't give you anything else, but a little bit of the dust that I got in my brain, and I can sub you up over here. And if I was on YouTube, man, everybody in here right now, you're in blue anyway, man. I'm kind of tired out over here. I only started a little bit ago, man. My voice is kind of failing on me already.
Yeah, man. Wow.
Almost time for lunch, man. Crush, I appreciate it. We see you all over the place. Put your link in there because anybody with a family over here, bro, sub to my brother Crush the Legend, man. Crush the Legend. They don't call him the Legend for nothing, bro. He is the legend.
Thank you, bro. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Yeah, I'm gonna start doing a lot of stuff on my channel. I'm normally everywhere else, on everybody's stuff, but I got this hip hop radio show that I'm starting next weekend. So I do a whole lot of stuff, especially on the music side. But I'm gonna start doing a lot more boxing content, besides just sitting in the bleachers. I love it though. I love it. I sit back, I listen, I learn. I never think I know any more than anybody else. Is just when I speak on boxing, I want everybody to hear this because I'm only going to say this shit once. When I speak on boxing, I'm the most unbiased motherfucker you're going to hear. I'm a straight shooter up and down. Y'all know it. I don't have no favoritism. If it's fuckboy shit, It could be my favorite fighter. I'm gonna call him out on it. If it's fuckboy shit all over the place, I keep it boxing because I can say fuck the fighters and just be about the sport, which I was about the sport for a lot of years. Even when I started watching boxing, I didn't start being a fan of the fighters until I knew I understood it enough. So even when I was watching Ali and them, I didn't become a fan until about 5 or 6 years later because I had to start studying and understanding what's going on. But at the end of the day, I'm more of a fan of the sport and the history and the science of boxing than the fighters. So I don't get caught up in the nonsense of, nut hugging favorite fighter because at the end of the day, they ain't gonna hug your nuts. And don't get your blood pressure raised up on the shit.
That's a fact, my brother. Crush, thank you so much for coming in here, man.
Thank you. It's an honor.
Peace, my brother. Hey, man, we this was fun over here, bro. We talk jazz. We shot a little bit of shit about boxing, which we love. And man, I'm going to be heading out of here. I just want to thank everybody that came in here, man. If I didn't shout you out, man, I must have missed you. I must have missed you because the eyes aren't what they used to be, bro. And I'm too vain to wear glasses all the time. So hey, man, Bruce goes, man. Just nothing but peace and love out here. We got boxing coming on this afternoon. We got life is good, man. Life is good on the Bay. I thank God every day that I get out of bed, man. It's a blessing. And then to come on here with people like you, and just to get the acknowledgments from some of the great people out there, man. Mr. Pads is always here, man. Scrapbook, man. I'm honored. Oscar, Con Shawnery, Reggie, dude, Kenneth Johnson. I gotta shout you out because if it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't be here. Thrill Hill, bro. Dude, it really does humble me. Fistiana, thank you, sister, man, thank you. L Dub, you honor me by coming in here, man. And I don't want to double shot anybody. Kwee, thank you so much. Ashley's Corner. I got the Queens in here. I'm going to be over the Queens in a few hours, checking them out, man. And we kind of said it all over here. Marion Brown. I don't want to miss anybody because I appreciate when I get shouted out in rooms. We here, bro. Peace to you, my man. I know what it feels like. When you get slighted in the room. Tay, thank you for coming in. And, it's better to be shouted out than to be ignored. Sometimes you don't know if it's personal, but a lot of times you can't keep an eye on the chat. People come in and out. Dimitar, thank you for coming in, my brother. People come and people go, and I appreciate you just coming and showing the love. Like Stormy B, man, bro. Another one who came in here, man. I don't want to miss my brother Stormy B, man. Paulo, always a pleasure talking to you. La D, the sister, the queen, man. She's been riding with me since day one. When I found out she was from Providence, Rhode Island, bro. La D, salute to you. VXR, salute to you, bro. Never saw you here before. I saw you around the last couple of days. Whatever, bro. Peace and love to you, my bro. You come in here, listen to some jazz. Oscar Prince. I guess I shouted everybody out. I'm kind of going to Ben Israel. Thank you, brother. Thank you for coming in, man. And everybody else that came in here, anybody that I possibly missed, thank you so much. Shout out to my lovely wife for making this all happen for me. Shout out to God. Thank you, God. Thank you, Jesus. Peace, everybody, man. Bruce Goes is out of here. Digging on that jazz, digging on that boxing, digging on that health and nutrition, digging on that weed. Peace.